to kindly address the gathering.
Good afternoon to all of you. First of all, it gives me a great pleasure to be part of this program. That's the particular topic. Before that, I would like to just give you a brief detail about Mahatma Gandhi ji and how he came up and what was how he grew up and what were his achievements before going exactly to the topic. Mahatma Gandhi ji was born, as you all know, on 2nd October 1869 in Porbandar. His father was Karamchand and mother was Putli Bai. He joined the school at the age of 9, and his mother and his parents taught him at home only. At the age of 9, he joined the school, and you may not believe, at the age of 13, he got married. And his wife's name, as you all know, is Kasturba Gandhi. He could not continue the studies during the marriage year because he was very busy with that. He was unable to continue his studies. Later on, he joined the college. Once he joined the college, he felt that he has to do law like all of you. So during those days, many of them, I think Dr. Subramaniam, you may have to correct me, barrister course it was called earlier. So he went to do law in London, and in order to go there, he had to cross so many hurdles because he was to convince his wife and also mother. Because during those days, people had an apprehension that when they go to any foreign country, they are going to consume meat, they are going to consume wine, and they may develop an attitude towards a woman. So therefore, either Kasturba Gandhi nor his mother was interested in him going to London. Finally, he convinced them, he promised them that he is not going to consume liquor, he is not going to consume meat, and at the same time, he will be like Sri Rama. Now, he went to London, did his law, and came back to India. Then, in order to have a good practice, he went to South Africa. In South Africa, he was there for almost 21 years. He went to South Africa in the year 1895, and he was there up to 2015, almost 21 years. The turning point in his life came in South Africa. When he was traveling in a train, that too in the first class compartment, he was asked to leave that compartment by a TTE, Ticket Traveling Executive or Inspector, TTI. Then he showed him the first class ticket. He told that this particular bogie or this particular compartment is reserved only for the whites. Therefore, you have no business to stay here. He protested there, but he was kicked out of the compartment. His luggage was thrown out. That was the turning point in Mahatma Gandhi's life. He thought that there is apartheid policy in South Africa and a lot of discrimination is there, and he wanted to fight for the cause of not only the blacks but also the colored. So he joined the protest and he started fighting for the cause of this colored and black people. Later on, after 21 years, he came back to India because then by 1915, there was freedom struggle and all. He wanted to see that he wanted to join the band in order to get our country free. So what he did was he came back and he was mentored by one freedom, one icon, that is Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Gopal Krishna Gokhale was his mentor. He joined the Indian National Congress, and what he wanted was, he wanted to study the length and breadth of our country. Therefore, he traveled by bus, he traveled by the train. It may be Khilafat movement, it may be Dandi March, it may be civil disobedience movement, it may be Quit India movement. In all the movements he participated, and finally he was instrumental in we getting the independence. Gandhiji was known for his most important values, that is non-violence, satyagraha, and truth. Even Nelson Mandela and also the Martin Luther King of United States of America, they followed him and they followed his principle of non-violence and truth. Many of you may not be knowing one important thing. Gandhiji was nominated in order to get the Nobel Peace Prize 5 times between 1937 and 1948. But he was not in a position to get the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know for what reasons, obvious reasons they had, but he was nominated 5 times for that. This is the background which I would like to give about Mahatma Gandhiji, who is said to be their icon, who is said to be an inspirational leader, and who is said to be our great guru. Today, if at all we consider anybody or we revere anybody, it is Mahatma Gandhi. And many of them follow the principles and also the values what is being given by Mahatma Gandhi. Now, the topic for the day is principles of Mahatma Gandhi relevant today in this contemporary world? Is it not? If I were to talk to you directly, I would have asked you a few questions. For example, now I may not be in a position to ask you, but one thing is, now I would like to ask you one particular question. Are the principles of Mahatma Gandhi valid today? Many students would have given different the replies, different answers. They would have justified that also. Some of them would have told the principles are said to be very good and this is being followed today. And some of them would have told it is very absurd, it is not, it is very subjective, it is very relative, and many of them may not follow it today, or may or may not follow it today. But one thing is, I would like to tell you, my dear students, the principles of Mahatma Gandhi is valid and eternal. It is valid and eternal because the society at present has assumed larger dimensions. The society at present has assumed larger dimensions. During those days, between 1930 and 1947, or in the early part of 1900 or before 1947, what was the main objective of the people? The main objective of the people was to get our country free from the Britishers. The independence, they wanted Swaraj, they wanted self-rule, they wanted self-control, they wanted self-discipline, and they wanted to rule on their own. That was their motto, that was their objective. Now you see, the problems are varied and domain. There are economic issues, there are social issues, there are political issues, and the issues are increasing day by day. Therefore, in this particular time or at this particular point of time, Gandhiji's principles, Gandhiji's values will be of more relevance, and it is applicable today very much. Then the next question will be, what do you mean by Gandhian principles, or what is Gandhianism? What are Gandhian principles? Are Gandhian principles and values said to be same, or are they different? Gandhian principle is nothing but a body of ideas that describes the inspirational vision and the life work of Mahatma Gandhi. It describes the inspirational vision and also the life work of Mahatma Gandhi. See, one thing I'll tell you. How many of them can inspire people of all ages, the entire mass, like Mahatma Gandhiji? You may not believe, I have read in many articles and many books that lakhs of people used to attend Gandhiji's speeches. Gandhiji was very lean and lanky, and the voice was also very feeble, and the mic system then was not all that good. But what people used to do is, they used to travel miles and miles. They never used to have any vehicles or something. They used to travel miles and miles and attend Gandhiji's the speeches. He was such an inspiration to everyone. Today also, he is an inspiration to many. I will tell you why later on. When people used to love him, they used to respect him, they used to revere him for all these ideologies and all these principles and all the virtues. And he was a visionary. He had a lot of vision, but the most important thing was the vision to get our country freed from Britishers. That was the vision. The most important part is the Gandhiji's life itself, if we follow. Even if we follow 30 to 40% of Gandhiji's life, then we become pure. We become like Ganga, because Gandhiji was such a perfect human being and he was such a pure fellow. Therefore, Gandhiji's principle is said to be a body of ideas that describes the inspirational vision and the life, inspirational vision and life work of Mahatma Gandhi. The next important thing is Gandhian values. Whether Gandhian values hold good today, how far Gandhian values have touched the hearts of the present generation. When we talk about Gandhian values, we talk about truth. And the three tenets of truth are truth in thoughts, truth in speech, truth in action. When we talk about truth in thought, we should always be thinking about truth. When we speak, we should speak truth. When we do the action, when we perform, naturally, even in our action, there should be truth. You may tell me, sir, how many of them follow it today? Many of them follow. That doesn't mean that everyone is an ideal person. I will tell you, no situation is an ideal situation. No person is an ideal person. Even Rama or Krishna were not considered to be ideal people because there were lacunae. We are human beings. There may be lacunae. That doesn't mean that we do not follow truth. We do not follow the three tenets of Gandhi. So that the three tenets, that is the truth, is said to be part and parcel of our lives now also. Many students or many people are influenced by this value of Mahatma Gandhi, non-violence. You may tell that in India, people are said to be very harsh, very violent. They speak unparliamentary words and all. But many times I have also observed, for example, the traffic signal itself, or Bangalore traffic is so bad, when you go in your vehicle, either in a two-wheeler or in a cycle or in a car, you may have to entangle with so many issues and so many the problems and challenges. People are very calm. People will never become violent just because somebody tells us something. And this has come to our mind because of the Gandhian principles or Gandhian values. Non-violence is the best principle which was adopted by Gandhiji. Whether it was any movement, Khilafat movement, civil disobedience, or if freedom struggle, quit India, Dandi March, anywhere, he advocated only one thing. People should not indulge in violence. If they indulge in violence, then I will be held responsible, and I will definitely not be your leader. So that was, he always initiated that particular process. See, because of that, people were afraid to become violent. Even when there was Jallianwala Bagh massacre, he never advocated violence. Nowadays also, In spite of so many problems, we have got almost 133 crore population. They are from diversified, they have got diversified views, diversified ideas. In spite of all those things, our politicians, our leaders always advocate that there should be non-violence. You should not indulge in violent activities. I was a teacher for almost 4 decades. I advocated only this. I told that at any point of time, one should not lose their cool. They should never become violent in their outlook or approach. And that has come because of Mahatma Gandhi ji. Next one is equanimity. Equanimity means you are said to be cool. You should be very composed. Even nowadays, in your college also, there may be meditation. There may be yoga classes. And in many institutions, there are meditation classes, yoga classes in order to bring equanimity. Mahatma Gandhi advocated equanimity, composure, coolness, and always you should be very calm. And this was preached by Mahatma Gandhi, which is now followed by all of us. Swaraj was another thing which was proposed by Gandhiji. What is the Swaraj? Self-rule. Many of them have thought that Swaraj means we are going to get our country and we are going to rule it. Fine. That was the main intention. But Swaraj here means he implied one thing. It is nothing but self-control, self-discipline. That means every individual should control himself. When once you get the country to be ruled, and when once you have that self-rule, unless and until you have the self-control, unless you have that self-discipline, you will not be in a position to prosper. That is what Mahatma Gandhi told, and even today we are practicing it. Renunciation. Always we talk about one thing. The society has given us so much. What is that we have to give back to the society? That means what? Everything is not for us. What all we get, it is not for us. Who taught us this? Mahatma Gandhi ji. Mahatma, you may not believe, Mahatma Gandhi ji was born with a silver spoon. His father was the Diwan of Porbandar. His father, the Diwan means Chief Minister of Porbandar. I have seen his house, a very big house in Porbandar. And he left everything. He renunciated everything. Why? In order to go for freedom struggle, in order to get independence to India. Nowadays, you have seen so many people. They have renunciated so many things. For example, you take Warren Buffett, you take Melinda Gates Foundation, you take Sudha Narayan Murthy, you take Sunil Deshpande, and there are so many people who would like to give back to the society. That means what? What all I earn, it is not just for me. What all I get, it is not just for me. I have to part with what I have got. And this came because, not because of anybody, because of our forefathers, especially Gandhiji practiced it and we are following it. Many of them are following it. Humility, humbleness. Gandhiji was so very humble. He never, see, in South Africa, he was wearing the suit and all. When he came to India, he started wearing dhoti. He had only an upper garment. And many of the foreign journalists criticized him as half-naked fakir of India. He was called as half-naked fakir of India because he was not, his attire was not immaculate like what they thought. So he never bothered about it. He lived in simplicity, simple food, simple life he led. And because of that, many of them got influenced because of that simplicity. When people used to come to Seshamurthy ashram, he used to serve them. When he used to serve all the animals which were there. Goats were there, sheep was there, cow was there. He used to serve all those animals. That was the simplicity of Mahatma Gandhi. which is being practiced by many of them even now also. The most important thing is he respected the views of others. He was a leader. He was a leader of eminence. He respected the views of others. He never dictated the terms at all. But one thing was, he was very firm in his decision. A leader will always be like that. He will respect, he will talk to everyone, take everyone's view. And finally, when he gives his opinion, he will be very fine. The Gandhiji was very firm in his opinion. But he used to get the collective wisdom of people around him. And he never, even though all of them respected him, he never dictated the terms with anybody. And even when India got the independence, he never took any position at all. He could have become the president, he could have become the prime minister, or he could have become anything. But he never took any position because of his simplicity, and he never wanted any position. The most important thing he wanted to achieve was to get the freedom for our country. He did it, and everything was on cards, and he achieved that. He emphasized on sanitation, security, literacy, infrastructural development. He emphasized on sanitation. Are we not having now the sanitation program, which is done by our Prime Minister Mahatma Narendra Modi ji? Sanitation, that is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. All of you know. It has come from Mahatma Gandhi ji. You may not believe, my dear children, Gandhi ji used to clean the toilets of Harijans. He never used to bother. Even he used to ask his wife to clean it. Many of the times she was not interested. But Gandhi ji was so very simple. He told, sanitation, we have to sanitize everything, and we have to do this, and you are my wife, and you have to do it. Sanitation. Next, sanitization. Next, security. Security nowadays. Are we not securing our borders? Are we not securing the life of our children and also women? No. This concept came because of Gandhiji. He had told once, if you think that India has got freedom, then a woman should walk alone at midnight without any fear. I don't know how many of you follow Kannada. I will just tell you. ಏನಾದರೂ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಗು ರಾತ್ರಿ ಒಬ್ಬಳೇ ಭಯ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಓಡಾಡೋ ತರ ಇರಬೇಕು. That was his intention. And security. Then literacy. See, from 1915 onwards, he started talking about all these things. Literacy. Literacy means what? Everyone should be in a position to write and read at least. So that was the program, and he wanted that to happen. And nowadays also, many states have achieved 100% literacy, and many states are reaching that target now, even in India. Infrastructural development. You know, our Prime Minister has brought one thing, Atmanirbhar. What is that Atmanirbhar? We have to be self-sufficient, and we should have our own resources. Make in India, skill India. All these concepts are being followed because of Gandhiji's principles and because of Gandhiji's values. Next, upliftment of weaker sections. There was a lot of gap between higher ups and weaker sections, or the forward sections and also weaker sections. They wanted to bring, or they wanted to narrow the gap. Because of that, they brought reservations. They wanted to narrow it so that everyone will get a position in the society. They never wanted only few of them to occupy higher places, and everyone should be in a position to get that position. And therefore, upliftment of weaker section are also being done. And are we not following it now? Is it not the principle of Mahatma Gandhi, our values, what it was inculcated then? Are we not following it now? Yes, we are following it. Next one is, here the most important thing is, in order to bring unity among all the religions, no casteism, no upper caste and lower caste, no caste, all the religions are said to be same, whether it is Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, we should all be united. There should not be any differences. Therefore, India is now called as a secular country because of this secular feeling. And this was inculcated by Mahatma Gandhi. My dear students, this is what Mahatma Gandhi inculcated during those days. And I have given you a bird's eye view of what Mahatma Gandhi ji intended to, and whether it is being practiced. Whether it was Congress government, whether it is BJP government, or whether it is in the future, everyone will follow the practices, the principles, the values which are being given by Mahatma Gandhi ji. It was there, it is there, and it will be there. That's what I would like to tell you. And I request, being law students, I request all of you to study the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi ji and try to inculcate the values, what is being given by him, at least to some extent. I don't say that everything is possible, but to some extent, if you practice it, you will become good lawyers and you will become good citizens of this particular country. Thank you very much, Dr. T.R. Subramaniam and all others. I wish you all the best. Happy Gandhi Jayanti Day. God bless you all.